Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Curly Sewista. Welcome back, my name is Sophia. So, today's a funny one. I am going to be reviewing the Orchid midi dress by Chalk and Notch. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I can't remember which one now, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make this up for the Sew Wrap Challenge 22, da-da-da. And oh my gosh, it just didn't work out at all. I actually had it sewn up and everything, and then I'm in Egypt at the minute, if I haven't already mentioned. Still here at the minute. And we were meant to spend a week at the in-laws. So I was like, right, my dress is nearly finished, I just needed to put a popper. And I was like, oh, it was like last minute, I really wanted to get it sewn up when we went there. And then I didn't manage to get it fully sewn up. I was like, okay, I'll take the popper with me. And then I just got so busy over there, didn't get a chance. And then I got really poorly as well. And then my little one got poorly as well. And it was just a cold, but I had like flu-like symptoms, not very nice. Anyway, and then I realised because the time difference in Australia as well, I realised that I hadn't taken any photos or anything, because it was finished, it was hemmed and everything, but I just didn't take any photos of it, so missed out on that challenge. I just can't believe I did that anyway. But anyway, doesn't matter, because I got a beautiful dress sewn up, and that's all that matters. Even though I could have won a prize, I really had a feeling in my bones that I could have won something. But anyway, so this is my review of the Orchid midi dress by Chalk and Notch. So I made some notes as well. I've been really organised here. In the next breath, when I've not reached a target for the challenge, but it's all fun, isn't it? It's meant to be. So Orchid midi dress, I'll put a picture of what it's meant to look like as well. So it's a wrap bodice with midi length skirt. What I really liked about it was the fact that the top is a wrap and the skirt part isn't. Just the thought that you could open up and expose yourself just really scares me. So I really like the fact that the top bit is a wrap and then the skirt isn't. It just gives you that security, I feel. And I was so pumped for the challenge as well, because Sew Wrapped, I thought, oh my god, it's ideal because it's nursing friendly for me. Everything is obviously, you have to just don't realise everything is kind of like, oh no, is it going to be nursing friendly or not? So yeah, wrap bodice. Then there's two views. They've got view A, which is with ruffle sleeves. That's so cute, but I know that I'd get more wear out of view B, which is long sleeves with a little gathered cap and wrist elastic. So that's one that I made, view B. There's also a combination of elastic and a waist tie to define the waist. So I really like that, really like it. I made a size 12 bodice and I graded out to a 16 from the waist. Now my measurements are 36 upper bust, 40 bust, 34 waist and 45 hips. But they've got cup sizes as well. So yeah, so I went for the 14 bodice, 16 graded out there. And the pattern, it did suggest that you size down if you're in between sizes. And because there's cup size as well, I love that there's cup sizes. So if there's cup size A to B, and that's if the difference between your upper bust and your bust, full bust, is up to 2 inches. So you'd use either A if you had 1 inch difference, a B cup if you had 2 inch difference, and then you've got a C/D cup if you've got up to 4 inches difference. Now obviously As I said, mine is a 36 upper bust and 40 bust, so that's 4 inches. So I went for the D cup, obviously. Yeah, and then what else did I need to do? So there needed to be an ease. So it says that there's meant to be 5 inches of ease at the bust, 9 inches at the waist, because obviously it ties in, and then 7 inches at the hips as well. So the final measurements, I'll put the chart up of the final measurements. That's why I then went for the 14 at the bodice and then graded out to a 16 at the hips, and it worked out really well. So that's why I chose those sizes. The only other difference, the only other changes that I made is that I shortened the skirt by 5 inches because, and I like that, it was so, I love that about the pattern. It said on there, right, I didn't have to go searching for it or anything. While I was looking at my measurements, it said, this pattern is drafted for a 5'7" person. I'm 5'1" and a bit, 5'1". And so I just thought, right, I'm gonna, how much did I lob off in the end? Think about 4 inches or 5 inches I took off. Yeah, 5 inches because it was drafted for a 5'7" person. I'm about 5'1", so I just went 5 inches, lobbed that off at the lengthen and shorten side. And then also, all I did with the sleeves is I held it up over here, pattern piece, and I just had a look. And I was like, oh yeah, that's really long. Because normally if it's drafted for... There's this thing in there, I'm sure I've seen it somewhere, that your length from your finger, like all the way to your other finger, is your height. So if you're tall, you're going to have a longer span, I'm guessing. I don't know if I've just made that up, but anyway, so yeah, I just held it up, the sleeve pattern piece, and then I kind of just like guessed really. I was like, so I lobbed off 4 inches from the sleeve as well, and that was all my alterations that I made to the sizes. And I noticed as well, and I really like this about the pattern, that if your bust size difference between upper bust and bust was more than 4 inches, normally most pattern companies will say you'll need to do a full bust adjustment. I won't even maybe say that, you'd have to just figure it out yourself. But for chalk and notch, they actually put they didn't just say that you'll need a full bust adjustment, they actually put steps of how to do that as well. So I thought that was really, really good. I really liked that about them, but thankfully I didn't need to do that because mine was 4 inches, as I said. The fabric that I chose was a viscose. It was pretty good to work with, really good. It's really creasy though, really creasy. Like when I'm feeding my baby, and I'll have to just, you know, put the wrap down, and then say I'm feeding him in the car or something, say like I'm sat and I'm feeding him, and then I have to and then I've got like a feeding cloth over, and then I've noticed then when I go out or when we're finished, there's loads of little creases, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And I bought the fabric from Dewsbury Market. I think it was like £5 a metre or something, probably even less than £5 a metre. The recommended amount was 3.2 metres that I'd need for the view that I was making, but I think I used just over 2.5 metres, literally just because obviously I had to cut a lot off for the sleeve and for the length, so didn't have to use a lot. The instructions were so easy to follow. Honestly, they were amazing. Absolutely love it. I mean, everyone goes on about tilling the buttons, and they are good, they're amazing, but I feel like chalk and notch, I mean, this is the first pattern that I've made of theirs, and it was amazing. Like the instructions, as I said, I mentioned the full bust adjustment thing, but they were just so easy to follow. Honestly, so easy to follow. One funny thing was that I had to interface the back yoke, and I didn't have any interfacing. I think I started this at night, and I was like, there's no way I'm going out to start looking for interfacing. So I was like, what could I use instead of interface, and started Googling it. And someone was like, you could just use the same fabric that you're using, put them together. All it needs is just a little bit more structure to it. So that's what I did. So I just cut another piece out. I had more, I had a bit extra left over for the back yoke. Sewed it within the seam allowance. And then, yeah, absolutely fine. So that's what I used. The only other thing that I did, the only thing that I went wrong with is you're supposed to edge stitch the bias binding at the front, and I for some reason did the end bit, and then anyway I ended up doing both sides. If I can, I'll put a photo up what I mean, but yeah, so that's what I did. And then the burrito method was so well explained as well. I mean, I've done the burrito method a couple of times. I think I've done it on the Tilly and the Buttons pinafore, olive pinafore. I think I had to, it doesn't go in my head for some reason, the burrito method. I had to do it on the Nina Lee Mayfair dress as well, and again on that as well. I had to YouTube it because I just couldn't figure it out. But with this, literally, it was so easy. I missed out with the pattern. I missed out the pockets because I thought it's quite thin fabric, and it's not a big gathered, skirt. So I didn't really want pockets there. And also I missed out the slit as well. I didn't really fancy the slit at the front as well. And the only other thing that I did was the elastic casing. So it said on the thing that elastic you need, I can't remember how much the width of the elastic is that you need. But I couldn't find that width elastic. We're going around to all the haberdashery shops looking for this width of elastic. Couldn't find it. Managed to get one that was near enough that size. And then I was like, oh, hang on, what do I actually need this for? For the waistband casings. I can make it whatever size I want, really. So I love the instructions. I really I can't recommend Chalk and Notch more than what I have already. Really, honestly, I could not. So as I was putting together, I was just so impressed by how it was coming together. And you could just tell that it'd been really well drafted as well. Really well drafted. Like the putting together of it wasn't, you could tell that it was drafted by a really reputable pattern company. I mean, that's probably a strange thing to say, but honestly, I have tried one or two patterns and I've just thought, like, you spend all that time putting it together, and it's not just me, but sometimes you put things together and you're like, there's so much ease in this. This does not look how it's looking on your pattern envelope or the pictures. Like, there's been a lot of manipulation to make it look like that. But with this one, honestly, it was drafted so well. So I thought, hang on, I just want to have a little bit of research about what Chalk and Notch is, who owns Chalk and Notch. So I did a little bit of research. Because I'm nosy like that, so I thought I'd do a bit of research. So it was actually run by Gabriella, and she went to college for fashion design to become a fashion designer, but she fell in love with art of pattern making. So I think she worked in apparel. I've written bits down as well, so don't forget. So if I'm looking down, that's because why. So she worked in the apparel industry as both a pattern maker and a product developer as well. So she did that for about 8 years, but then she decided that the apparel business wasn't for her, industry wasn't for her. So in 2015, she found Sewing Community through blogs on Pinterest. And then she thought, I can transfer my industry skills to build a sewing pattern company that's an ethical alternative to fast fashion. Her first pattern was a girl's pattern, released in November 2015, and then a woman's pattern in 2017. And she started it all on her own as well. and she was writing in the about me as well that it's a small business. There's no full-time employees, but she does work with some really reputable contractors, like a professional grader, web developer. So really, you can just tell, like, you know, you could really tell that it's been so thought out, and really it's not just let's churn out another pattern, let's churn it out, whatever, it's been really drafted so well. Instructions are being thought out so well. It just fit really nicely. And then also it said that their Chalk and Notch's mission is to offer stylish, which, yeah, definitely nice stylish lines of their patterns, professionally drafted patterns with detailed instructions, tick, definitely, while creating a welcoming community. And they said that they offer many resources as well. So they've got a blog, they've got photo sew-alongs, they've got fitting resources. So they've got loads of resources online as well. So if you're struggling with a pattern, there's loads of online resources. So I think it would be amazing for, you know, a first-time sewer. Definitely, it was so detailed. You could definitely follow along. You don't need to be sewing for any length of time to follow a Chalk and Notch pattern. And with all the other resources that they've got online as well, I think you could, if you've never ever sewn before, I'd recommend it, definitely. What else did they say? So, and then also, I really like this as well. So Chalk and Notch said that they stand against racism, committed to working with black makers and makers of colour, and also only work with fabric companies and partners who believe in supporting Black Lives Matter as well. So it's important for diversity. So I really like that as well. I think it's really important. Personally, this is my personal opinion, I think it's really important that I'm spending my hard-earned cash on patterns or fabric, so I would like to spend my money and support a business that is ethical, that is, you know, has the same values or cares about the same things that I care about as well. So I really like that about them as well. Really like that, and I like that they've put that in there as well. Like, that's not, you know, I like that that's in their whole about us as well. So I really like that as well. I think it's so important to support companies that have good ethics, and I'd support them with my money every day, any day, definitely. So yeah, that is Chalk and Notch. So well. It's such a nice pattern. It really is. It's just lovely. I'm so happy with it. I've put photos as I'm talking as well, so let me know what you think about it as well. But yeah, I've already cut out another two actually. I've already cut out another two as well. It's such a nice pattern. I really recommend it, 100%. The only thing I'd do next time is shorten the bodice, and I think I have done that as well. And the reason for that is because I've been cutting out a Helen's pattern. Is it a Gilbert top? Something. I've been cutting out a Helen's pattern, Helen's closet pattern, and it said that normally, if you're petite, what you do is, say if a pattern's drafted for 5'7" person, and I'm 5'1", so there's 6 inches difference there. So you divide by 2, and then you would reduce the bodice by that amount. So yeah. I think with my next one that I did, I reduced the bodice by about an inch, because I've already made it up, so I could probably do with reducing a little bit. I was just a bit worried about, because I like it so much, so I think I've reduced it by an inch, and I'll just see how it is then, but that's what I'll do. and I think it would look a little bit better because I think it's just a little bit too long for me at the bodice. But other than that, I absolutely love it. I love it so much. I think with the Deer and Doe My Sotis dress is obviously was my favourite dress ever, but I think the Chalk and Notch Orchid midi is now my favourite dress, and yeah, I think Chalk and Notch is now my favourite pattern company as well. So yeah, definitely recommend. If you have any questions that you want to ask me about it and I might have missed out on my review, let me know. But yeah, lovely. I love the detailing here as well, like the little gathered. I just think it looks so good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.